Lower one today is Friday, June 27, 2025. This is your update for Monday the 30th. All right, let's go. Well, as far as setups, this VG caught my eye tonight. It's a relatively new issue, cup and handle, TKO kind of pullback, also a trend pivot pullback type of setup. We'll take a look at that in just 1 second. Kato's triggered and had a nice little move in our favor. Thank goodness, given the nature of the gold stocks today. We'll take a look at that too in just 1 second. Still have math on the list as a potential setup. Just make sure you wait for an entry. The volume's really dried up in this one, so be super careful on that one. We'll probably take it off the list if it doesn't trigger very soon. Let's take a look at VG. As you can see, kind of a cup and handle IPO type of setup, TKO-ish, trend pivot, pullback, etc. Make sure you, of course, you wait for an entry, as we do on everything. One thing that's kind of interesting tonight, as it has been lately, is a lot of super speculative type of issues on the list. Look at the HVs in these guys. So just be mindful of that. HVs of 300 and 183 and just really, really crazy HVs, but that's what seems to be setting up at the moment. Let's take a look at the portfolio, and then we'll pop out to the overall market and drill down a bit. First of all, Kato's, bam. Not a bad day there, closing an all-time high. So far, so good. Good day for defense and general, as you see in 1 second. We're going to go ahead and bump the stop a couple of points on that. We're going to give it a little bit of breathing room, even though we're still in the first tranche or whatever. First, the whole position is what I'm trying to say, I guess. I was going to say first loaf, but that's sometimes gets a little confusing. KGC coming back in, as you can see, stuck in this range. Honor your stop just in case. Still looks okay longer term, but obviously it's lost a lot of momentum. TFPM actually looks pretty good. You notice it's on the Landry list tonight. It's a triple top knockout type of pattern, a pullback after a minor triple top. I think that looks actually pretty good. If you didn't take the original setup, I like this one as a brand new setup in and of itself. Of course, wait for an entry. The good news is it got hit pretty hard today, and if it keeps dropping, which God forbid, but if it keeps dropping, then you won't get triggered. And let's take a look at the overall market, and then of course drill down. First of all, let's take a look at the P's. S&P 500. Not a bad day there, closing at all-time highs. And hey, you know what? As a trend guy, I am not going to argue with that. Yeah, they're a little overbought, and lots of other things such as that to worry about, or there's always something to worry about, I should say. But the bottom line is new highs or new highs. And I hate to use the word hope, but hopefully they'll stay there and be on. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ Composite. I don't know if the mic picked it up, but my dog is pretty excited about the market too. Anyway, NASDAQ Composite, look at that. Close at all-time highs. Again, as a trend guy, certainly not going to argue with that. The Qs, bam, winning, also closing at brand new highs. A lot of areas doing pretty good in here, as you would imagine. Defense breaking out to brand new highs with vigor too. So look at that. That's pretty amazing move there. Software actually came back in, stalling a little bit at its prior peak. Cybersecurity also stalling out a little bit, but the breakout so far remains intact there. Gold to commodity, as I mentioned a second ago, got whacked a little bit. We'll keep an eye on the situation, but we are down below the 50 simple moving average, and the moving averages are going to come together fairly quickly because exponentials will turn down as soon as price closes below it, and then it's been weak enough to where the 10 has already turned down too. So we'll keep an eye on that situation, and the bottom line is there's nothing to do other than honor your stops just in case. Gold to stocks, I should say, down to the 50 simple moving average, trading a little sideways as of late. You know me, I sure like to see them pick back up sooner rather than later. Broker dealer didn't set the world on fire, but managed to close at all-time highs. So far so good there. I forgot to mention Rusty, just a little bit of disappointment, as it normally is, stalling a little bit below this overhead supply. So that's remains a bit of a bummer. NVIDIA, the king daddy of the semiconductors and all stocks in general for the most part, continue to bust out to brand new highs. So far so good there. Platinum came back in fairly hard, but that's going to be a volatile commodity, so I wouldn't get too excited there. So far the uptrend remains intact. Ditto for palladium, breakout remains intact there. Cloud computing stalling shy of this overhead supply. So there's always something to worry about, obviously, but in general, things continue to improve. Semiconductors didn't set the world on fire, but they did manage to close just below all-time highs. So far, so good there. I think that's it for tonight. Everybody have a fantastic night. If you have any questions, you know the routine. I will be checking in throughout the weekend, so feel free to hit me up on Facebook or shoot me an email at daviddave@landry.com. Everybody have a fantastic weekend. We'll talk again on Monday, if not sooner. Thank you so much.